Module 6.1, Relatives. Both adjectives and relatives have the same function. They both describe nouns, but they have slightly different concords, and so we are going to be covering them in separate sections. But when you hear the word relatives, what you need to think about is that it's a type of adjective. Now, the words that are included under relatives includes all of the colors, as well as the numerical stems of 7 and above, and a variety of other words that are used to describe nouns. In this section, we are covering the attributive form of the relative, and that is, for example, when we use the word sweet sugar in a sentence. In Xhosa, the adjective always follows the noun it describes. So you wouldn't say sweet sugar, you would say the sugar which is sweet, or the sugar that is sweet. In this table, we're looking at some of our most common relative stems. So as you can see, something is going to be added to the front of those particular words. So the relative stem of 7 is siklenhle, the stem of 8, sibozo, 9, lithoba, 10, lishumi. And then we have some common words: easy, lula, cold, banda, and its opposite hot, shushu, cheap, cheapo, difficult or heavy, nzima, nice or delicious, mnandi, dirty or dark, mdaka, painful, buhlungu. It is useful to become very familiar with these particular words. When we make up a relative, we are going to be using this relative stem. So, for example, here we have mnandi, and there's a relative concord that's been added as a prefix to mnandi, in this case, ezi. Now, this ezi is related to the noun that this relative is describing. So in this example, izinto means things, and ezimnandi is the description of those things. Izinto, ezimnandi means things that are sweet, or sweet things. So just for interest, but you don't actually have to memorize this, to create this particular relative concord, what has actually happened is an A has been added as a prefix to the noun prefix of that class. So let's just look at an example. If we have a class 10 noun, such as izinto, then the noun prefix of izinto, which is a class 10 noun, is easy. So that A is added to the front of easy. Some vowel elision happens. Those A and the I is coagulating, and that makes this relative concord ezi. Izinto, ezimnandi. If we look at another example of class 9 nouns, into, the noun prefix of into is that I. The A plus the I makes a E, and that gets added to the front of your relative stem, and now you have into emnandi, which means sweet thing. So here is a table that actually goes through all the different noun classes and gives you an example of all the different relative concords related to those particular noun classes. Please don't panic and don't memorize these. But as you start using them in various phrases that you learn, you'll be able to go and look it up on the table and understand why that particular relative concord is used. So let's just use a few examples looking at this table. And we'll look at some of the classes that we've already covered. So we, for example, have looked at class 1 and class 2. In class 1, umntwana is your class 1 noun, and the noun prefix there is u. So the relative concord that's been formed is that A plus that U, which makes it a O, and umntwana, omnandi. So again, that relative concord is added to the front of your relative stem, and that all relates directly to the class 1 noun. Let's look at another example of a group 2 noun, abantwana. Your abantwana, again, you've got your A plus your aba, which is your noun prefix. So the relative concord is aba. That aba is added to, again, the front of your relative stem, abamnandi, and that relates to describing a class 2 noun. I'm also just going to look quickly at class 7 and class 8. Isihlobo is a class 7 noun. The noun prefix for isihlobo is isi. That a plus the isi makes esi. That creates your relative concord. Again, it's added to the front of your relative stem. And then you're therefore describing a friend, a nice friend, or a friend that is nice. Isihlobo esimnandi. In class 8, that is our plural of our class 7 nouns. Izihlobo, again, a plus that izi makes it a ezi that goes in front of the relative stem. So to say nice friend or friend that is friends that are nice is izihlobo ezimnandi. Feel free to slowly go through all these examples. If you did have a bit of time and really wanted to practice, you can take that list of relative stems, use these particular nouns in all the classes, and practice creating little sentences with each of those particular relative stems. In the next section, we will look at adjectives, which are almost the same but different just in a few cases, and those highlighted yellow areas already give us a little bit of a clue, but we'll talk about that in the next module.